Hello everyone, Luke here. Now, before we talk about the chapter this week, we have pretty much a guest in the review. I don't know, this might be kind of awkward, but hey, come here, come here. We have Poppycat. Yeah, so Poppycat's going to attempt to comment on this review, and I don't know how. What. Hey Poppy, do you like science? Do you like manga? Do you like dogs, cat? Do you like dogs and pigs? Yeah, yeah, I thought so. I thought so. The dogs and pigs. That was like the thing that got us. Like, yeah, get me out the shot. Get me out the shot. So I guess she's not a fan of chalk and sagare. But anyway, yeah. So Poppy is going to be there. In all seriousness, Poppy is going to be here. Well, the view. So if you hear any like or in the background, that is her. That is her. But for now, let's just talk about the chapter. Alright, so this will be chapter 222 titled Science Road. Pretty standard chapter title, although it has significant meaning as we get into the chapter itself. So anyway, it starts off with molds being made of Kohaku's body by Yuzuria, which makes sense. That should be doing this, and should be doing it for the spaceship. Although, funny enough, when me and Pytrans were doing our stream last night, we know somebody brought up on the Jump Plus app, because I read them on the Fizz app. I believe he reads them on the Shonen Jump Plus page. Somebody commented on there was like molds in the background that were more than three. Now, whether this means like they were designing molds and trying to make them fit, that remains to be seen. Although the fact that wouldn't be an issue, considering they already know the heights and weights of everyone, that's kind of like a bit of head scratcher. Particularly one in the background here, where it looks like it's a little bit smaller than the rest. Now, who's the smallest out of the main cast? That's right, Mantle. No, I'm just kidding, it's Suika. But in all seriousness, where is Mantle? Like, he's just kind of dropped off the face of the earth at this point. Is he the Y Man? Is Mantle the Y Man? Is that why he's being so sneaky? But no, in all seriousness, this is probably having in more of the theory of like, yeah, there's going to be more than one person. There's going to be more than the three that have been picked going up into space, because it just seemed it would just be weird for not to have Chrome, Suika, and Ryusui be some of the people to actually go up there again as well. It'd just be weird. But anyway. Suika goes on to question what kind of clothes, what are they making, some kind of clothing, and it looks to be for the Asenku, Stanley Okaku. So I dare say these outfits will be spacesuits, as we get like the roadmap to the spacesuits, which is plutonium, Nithian, vinyl, electricity, chromium, salt, fluoride, silicon sand, aluminium, and silicon rubber. So pretty much the components that you need to put together to make a spacesuit. So kind of interesting that we get that roadmap, and and me and Padres were debating like, is this the actual spacesuits? But no, I think it's just like, okay, this is just a fantasy, kind of like what we saw with Ryusui, Kohaku, and Senku a few chapters ago. It's probably just fantasy, because in the next panel we immediately see Kohaku back into her normal clothes with no sign of like, okay, yeah, the spacesuit has been made, yeah. Because we don't get in this chapter spacesuits with base spacesuits acquired. So yeah, that's pretty much indicating that the spacesuits have not been made yet. So they go. Ukyo says, didn't they mention the three sacred treasures for the moon mission? Well, here they are: spacesuits, rocket engines, and spaceships, which is a reference to when they were in Europe and they were going to Barcelona. Oh, how I wish that arc was a bit. How I wish that Globetrotting arc was a bit longer. But hey ho, what can you do? They mentioned that spacesuits, rocket engine, and spaceship were the main three components for this mission. And Corker goes on to say, so basically we're ready to bring the fight to Wyman, right? And Chrome is very interested about one particular aspect of what's going on here, as he says, "What is this vinyl stuff?" Which he's referring to vinyl, which is a common trend with the Ishigami Village people, where they're like, "Yeah, what is this stuff?" And they mispronounce the word. As we have Taiju, as we get a funny scene between Taiju, Yo, and Magma. Taiju says, "I guess the Ishigami Village has never heard of it before," and we get Magma just like looking at Yo, thinking, "Don't." You better not be thinking what I am thinking right now, which is, I guess we shouldn't laugh at what the primitive people don't know, and he's like imagining Gyo laughing, which is pretty subtle but important character development for Magma, in the fact that he's in the fact that at the beginning of the series he was, I don't think, interested in many of the people around him, but now that he's been around these people a long time, he's kind of gotten to know them a lot more, and he kind of has an idea of what they're actually thinking. Yo, especially like, yeah, this is something Yo would be thinking, and you better not be thinking it. And something interesting for Yo as well is he says, "I'm not saying anything. Crow's already 10 billion times smarter than us when it comes to science." He said the 10 billion. He said Senku's catchphrase, 10 billion, 10 billion times smarter than us when it comes to science, which again is another interesting little tidbit of a character development for Yo, showing that even the corrupted cop there is now understanding why science is important. Nikki and Senku and again go on to have a conversation about how it's pretty funny. The whole rocket came before something as simple as final, and that the order of these inventions seem topsy-turvy. Yeah, it's been kind of a bit topsy-turvy, but hey, it's Senku doing this, so I've got nothing to complain about. I respect everything that God Senku says. God, I'm going to hell for that. Senku goes on to say that before that they needed an oil refinery, and they've got people all over the world to quickly run through the literal rocket science while ignoring plenty of other stuff they can make. And again, I really wish we had gotten to know more about like how the world has actually changed. I wish we could have spent a lot more time in the various different locations, but hey ho. It's just the way Inagaki chose to tell the story, which I respect him for telling the story the way he wanted to do, but at the same time, he really could have taken his time with the series. But anyway, Senku, after mentioning that they could have made there's plenty of actually mentioning ignoring plenty of other stuff they can make, he kind of gets a little bit of a thought. Now, I interpret this as like, there's something bad probably going to happen up on the moon, so I better make sure I give all these people exactly what I want before I actually go. So yeah, this is just screaming to me like something bad's going to happen, which is going to make the series go on a little bit longer than originally anticipated. A lot of people are saying like one person in particular is saying the series will probably end around chapter 250, which I really can't say. Like, I'm going to give it at this point to 200, like between 285 and 300 chapters. I'm pretty much going to give it that. That much. But anyway, we know that Senku is thinking about something quite emotional, because he has his back to the camera, and as we see, whenever he hides his face, that gets pretty emotional, as again said in the last chapter, before he says, so how about some last minute crafting projects before the moon launch? We can whip up just about anything. Now, when Senku said this, my immediate thought would be laptops. If I was in their situation, I'd be laptops so that I can actually do some, particularly Microsoft Word, so that I can actually do some writing, create some stories, create some films as well. Especially since Miami which is a video camera. So yeah, I could be the script writer for Miami, and she could write, and she could film the film. Well, that would be pretty epic. But anyway, that would be my my invention to bring back. And also, what would be some of yours? Like, anyone's watching this, want to comment what invention you would want to be brought back in the stone world? Let me know. But anyway, some of these are just insane. Like the PS5, the robot made protein powder, slot machine, microwave oven, jacuzzi, wine cellar. All four of those last ones were reuse. Of course, it was reuse. But and Gen says someone seems to have several desires, and Ryusui desires everything because he's freaking Ryusui. But the funniest one is like Ryusui is like, wait, I'm the tailor girl, washing machine. That's the funny. Like, she's just so happy about a washing machine. Which I guess I can't complain. I mean, washing clothes by hand is kind of can be kind of a pain, so having a washing machine would become very handy. And Taiju says, could I get a, but before we find out, we obviously know what he wants. Like, it's been pretty much established since the beginning of the series what he wants. Senku says, not possible to do everything, as we get the title page of Senku standing on some boxes with his little devil face on them, which might be a reference, I don't know. But going back to those inventions, when somebody said a PS5, somebody that Pyjam saw the comment of was like, Ed Scratch was like, wait, weren't they petrified in 2019, like, or in 2016? No, they were petrified in 2019. Yeah, they were petrified in 2019. And to that I'd say, well, yeah, the PS5 wouldn't be out then, but everyone knew it was coming. Like, there were rumours of that, so it's pretty obvious that, yeah, the PS4's out, but since Senku can make anything, I would have gone to the PS5 right away. So that's kind of the idea that getting around that. But yeah, we get the title page and we get the title factor, which we see in the background. We see that Japan, and more importantly, Ishigami Fridge is being built up even more, so that it's more of a finish now, and it's more of a finish now. It's become kind of like a city, because we see in the background. I think in the background that's meant to be the construction of the rocket itself, but it could be the construction of other things as well. But it's quite humbling to see like the passage of time. Yeah, it's clearly happening, even though we would more like to have some indication of like where we are actually in the timeline, because at this point, are Crow and Sakurai are Chalk and Sakurai even still alive? Like, that has to be brought up at some point. Like, are they getting too old? Or are they still alive? So the first invention that Senku decides to make is a microwave, which one of the more simple ones to make. As he says, we've got experience making cell phones, and radar, and this uses simple electromagnetic waves too. Yeah, pretty simple of a microwave. How it's basically a box that just bounces the electromagnetic waves back and forth and around the box, which makes the heat. So yeah, it's pretty much just that electricity being pumped into a box to make heat. That's basically what a microwave is. As they mentioned that the food was hot, but the food is hot when it was cold a minute ago, and Ruri, being typical Ishigami Village logic, I see no fire, so how can it be hot? It's like, Ruri, come on, you know what science is capable of, because it helps you get better, so yeah, don't be questioning anything. Yeah, and he says, and Senku says the microwave, oh, by the way, speaking of the microwave, let's just hope that Senku didn't bring back the beep, 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 beep. Like, he got rid of the beep on a microwave, because, yeah, that can get annoying after a while. Senku explains that the microwaves get the water molecules in the food all excited, and he mentions how the TV signal gets crappy when it's raining. It's the same idea. It's like we're sapping the teeny tiny raindrops in food, and this is where Ryusui brings up leftovers, and now they can take the final created for the spacesuit, stretch it out really thin, and that creates plastic wrap. So nice that we're actually getting ideas for how these inventions work just in one go like that. Nikki mentions that, yeah, we're back to 21st century dining basically, and Gen mentions, I suspect that this food related crafting is coming first because of the areas with so-called noble desire. Although it might be more of a case of like, yeah, they'll need the plastic wrap for when they actually go into space to get when you actually have the space food crafted and built up as well. The next up is a washing machine. As we see Yuzumi again, really excited, going, "Yay! I get a washing machine!" And Senku is like, "Spin a giant bucket around with a motor. That's it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just a bucket and a motor for a washing machine." And we get with Miami's 8mm video camera, water plus sodium hydroxide plus vinegar gives us cellophane. And to that I say, come on, you could have done more with that video camera, considering you spent at least a full chapter getting a photo camera out. But I guess it's because that Senku's already invented these things before, so we don't really have to go over them. But the most important thing is the one actually coming up involving Taiju, and the people here, but the other people here say pocket hand warmers, which is probably a reference to the fact that, yeah, this chapter was released in December, so people are obviously going to be thinking of hand warmers. I'm not sure when the timescale is for this chapter. It could be in autumn, which would be the most sense to get pocket warmers as well as December, as well as winter. It's crazy that this is something even Chrome can invent. When he says, "I think I've got this one. How about iron plus saltwater sheet?" And yeah, pretty much, congratulations, Chrome, for creating one of the inventions. We see some of the other inventions include Senku cereal, milk, Senku station, which is obviously a PlayStation, protein, what looks like a motorbike, and an Armadillo stall. Like, an Armadillo stall. Really? Really? It's not meant to be a consultation. Although, the one I'm most interested in is the refrigerator, which has the smear. Now, obviously, I'll show you a bit more. Like, yeah, smear. Now, that's obviously a reference to the manufacturing company Smeg. It's the same thing. Just take off that extra E that Senku put in, and you get the general idea. Which again, it's head scratching. Now you can have Google. You can mention Google in the series, but you can't mention like a manufacturing company again. That's kind of a bit weird of the copyright laws in this series. But anyway, we get to the most important part of this chapter, the second most important part of this chapter, which is wrapping up one of Taiju's long desires, which is a smartphone. Like, everyone knows Taiju wants a smartphone, and this is where everyone is like, wait a minute, Senku, you can actually do this. It can be done. It can be done at last. And Senku is like, yes, of course it can. And yes, you are finally going to get your smartphone, Taiju, which, finally, one of the longest running plot threads of the series, like way back, the first thing that Senku asked Taiju, like, okay, we're back in the stone world, what's the most important thing? And Taiju's first response was smartphones. And Senku was like, we're not jumping through 10 billion years already. Let's take it one step at a time here. And now we're finally up to that point where Taiju's finally got his smartphone. So, yay, Taiju finally got the thing that he most decided in this crazy, crazy world. And they're making the liquid crystal touchscreen for a smartphone. And this is where we get Chelsea and Gen going, but how the heck do you find liquid crystal? And Senku's like, you dummies, we're not actually using using a crystal that naturally comes in liquid form. You expect crystals to be solid, but this stuff flows like a liquid, kind of exists in that weird in between space. Hence liquid crystal. And there's a lot of different ways to make it. Take this for example. You add N-beryllium synthesized from alanine to toluene delivered from plutonium, and there's nothing easy about this. Gen actually says there's nothing easy about this, but Senku says that's because of the Benosidime, obviously. Yeah, I've probably butchered those words to the nth degree. I'm sorry about that. Yeah, there's nothing obvious about this. That I'm afraid. Yeah, again, pretty much says everyone what everyone's thoughts is. But Chelsea reckons it just smells like Chinese food, which okay. As we see Karsuki getting ready to make the smartphone, we see Senku going through the step by steps, including start with glass with these grooves, then pour Mr. Liquid Crystal all over it until the substance fills the grooves in nice little lines. Next, we need glass with the grooves going the other way. Sandwiched between the vertical and horizontal grooves, Mr. Liquid Crystal gets twisted around, creating a path of light, sort of like a twisted tunnel going from left-right to clockwise. With the press of an A button, we can get a sap. We can give it a sap of electricity, and the electric shock makes Mr. Liquid Crystal straighten out, so the twisted tunnel doesn't allow light. Those are the spots on the screen that appear dark, and this is where everyone's like, yeah, hey, he's right. And yeah, it makes sense in theory, but I can't quite understand. I mean, I can kind of understand it. It's it's sort of like when you put like sort of like aluminium to like a filling, like what's happened to me in the past. Like aluminium's gone to one of my fillings in my teeth, and it's kind of like being like a jolt. Is sort of like that, like it gets a jolt reaction, sort of similar to here, like an electric reaction, like just jolting, like, oh, okay, I'm awake right now. That's kind of the same thing with what's happening with the smartphone. So I can kind of understand why it is. It's like a chain reaction that's happening, and Kazuki, in typical Ishigami fashion, is like, yeah, I don't understand it. I'm just building it. All I heard is that the liquid crystal goes dark when electricity shoots through it. So yeah, kind of like, oh, the aluminium with the filling, like electricity shoots, like, oh, jolting reaction. And Senku says all that's left for our liquid crystal display is to add 2 screens of vinyl on top. So I guess you'll be bringing back vinyl records at some point, Senku, so that you can actually couldn't Senku theoretically actually is something that that needs to happen. Couldn't Senku theoretically bring back vinyl records and actually transfer what's on the record that Bianchi left to them onto a vinyl record, so that onto several vinyl records, so that we can have preserves, so we can have more preserves of the Lillan song. I'm surprised that Nikki didn't bring that up, considering that was the whole reason in the first place that she joined the Kingdom of Science. So food for thought there. Like, could Senku theoretically bring back burning CD burning as well, like burning songs onto a CD, or in this case a vinyl record? Could that potentially be something that happened? We'll have to wait and see. Senku goes on to say, whenever you touch the screen, there's an electrical reaction. Our liquid crystal touchscreen is complete as we get internet, game, phone, Stone World data. I'm more curious about the Stone World data on this smartphone. But yeah, Taiju's finally got his smartphone, so hats off to Senku for making it. And everyone's like, yeah, a real smartphone. Sure it is, nice and small too, but in typical Dr. Stone fashion, Taiju has to carry a big machine on his back to make it work, because we don't have more of the basic components to actually make basically a phone kind of like the phone size that I have right now. Yeah, it has to be carried on a big contraption on his back, but of course Taiju is so happy that he doesn't mind carrying it because he's got so full of stamina, but everyone is like, no, it's huge, kind of falling on their backs in that comedic fashion of Dr. Stone. Love that they've kept that a running gag throughout the series. Sai goes on to say the core of the phone is still an actual computer after all. Yeah, phones these days are like mini computers, basically. That's what Sai's bringing up here. And Senku's like, enjoy your 40k smartphone, and Taiju's like, you know I will, as long as the part you hold is pocket size. So yeah, Taiju doesn't see that. Taiju's like, okay, I'll carry this big contraption on my back just as long as the actual phone itself is pocket size. So hey, to each his own. And Sai says, and look, this LCD lets us text, email, and even play video games. So yeah, Senku brought back video games as well. Well, they already brought that back with Pac-Man and Tetris a few chapters ago. Nikki says, "Oh, that's one slick smartphone," and Chelsea's like, "Senku is such a sweetheart. All that hard work making the LCD just for his bestie Taiju." And yeah, this is where everyone's like, "Yeah, this is yeah." Even for Senku, even making something for his bestie, yeah. We all know Senku, and we all know, yeah, there's an ulterior motive for this, and the ulterior motive is that the spaceship is going to be crammed full of touchscreens because Brunia Tube TV gets wrecked by Terminator. It's the instant cut down on mass and volume, which is great because keeping total weight low key for which is great because keeping total weight low is key for piecemeal round trip rocket as we get the actual rocket starting to be brought together. So yeah, food for thought here about some things that could potentially happen even before Senku still goes up into space, particularly involving Nikki. Now we get to the probably what everyone thinks is the most emotional part of the chapter, and I'm inclined to agree here. We get as we get the roadmap, we get the actual Stone World roadmap, as we should call it, which yeah is pretty glorious because it's showcasing everything that they've gone through throughout the series, like starting from just Stone to where they are now. And yeah, it's amazing how far the characters have come, particularly Senku himself. I was forget Karaku saying it's like we've built a chain one link at a time, start to finish. It's all connected by the old familiar scientific roadmap, and yeah. It's a lot to take in, guys, when you realise exactly where Senku actually started to where he is now. That is a lot to take in, and I'm curious about how much emotion Senku is going to make. Like, I'm curious how emotional the next chapter is going to be because we get because we'll talk about that at the end. But yeah, we get the two roadmaps starting from Stone and ending with the moon rocket. As we get flashbacks to Senku going, we might just be a pair of old high school. So we get the flashback of Senku when he first woke up with Taiju and him saying, "We're going to be the Adam and Eve of the Stone World." And he's like, "We finally made it this far, starting with a single stone." And Senior says, "Our grand launch is at hand. Time to end this fight on the moon," as we get the reveal of the moon rocket, and that's where the chapter ends. So yeah, these two roadmaps pretty much cementing exactly, well, it's one big roadmap but spread up over 2 pages. But yeah, pretty much going from the stone to iron to electricity to rubber to touchscreens to smartphones to firearms to spacesuits, and now finally to rocket engine and spaceship, and now finally to the rocket. Now the roadmap was the most emotional part for me. Again, just seeing how everything has come together over the past 4.5 years at this point. Yeah, wow, nearly 4 and a bit, nearly 5 years. Wow, nearly 5 years of this series, guys. That is a lot to take in, and I would now, if done right, I can see the moon mission arc being 50 chapters on, so that we end at 6 years. That I'd say that would be a appropriate time, like we end in February 2023. At least give us that point. Give us another year of Doctor Stone goodness. So please, Inagaki, please. But yeah, now what I would have liked to have seen more is just more components of the rocket just being built over time, and just seeing the effort coming in on a much more longer time, kind of like what we saw with the Perseus. How we had that big reveal of the Perseus at the end of the Age of Exploration arc, and it kind of felt earned there. And now this does feel earned because it's culminating in the whole series coming together. But at the same time, I really wish that would be more little components being brought together, and we actually got more of a big reveal, kind of like how if Miami had used her video camera to kind of like just go up and film up, and then we just get a wide shot, like just a full page spread of the rocket. Like, that's at least give us that, a full page spread of the rocket to end on the chapter. So yeah, that's my only nitpick about the chapter itself, aside from the occasional, like, we seem to be skipping through a lot of things and going a bit fast paced. But hey ho, this might actually lead to the moon mission being to be in the moon arc, the moon landing arc, being quite a long chapter, quite a long arc in of itself. Because I do feel something is going to go incredibly wrong. Something's going to go wrong, and something on Earth is going to go wrong, which is going to make it another year of Doctor Stone, in my honest opinion. Like, I'd say a year max, like February, or a year and a bit. Like, let's go until February 2023, and just end on the month where it all starts, so we get a 6 year complete run of the series, which would actually tie into Inagaki. What Inagaki said, that he could get the series out in another 3 years, when it was like three years to go for the series. So hey, we'll see if that's still going to be the angle that he's going to be taking it. But anyway, guys, what did you think of this chapter? Let me know. Like, subscribe, comment, all that jazz. And this will be Lasherluke signing off. Later, guys.